Fadi, it's great seeing you again. Thanks for coming and supporting me with the book. I'm going to ask you a question. You've always been a corporate person, but this is all about personal branding. How does personal branding relate to a corporate guy?
It's important for any person today because your personal brand is the age of social media, of communication, of the perception people build about you. I think is the first impression you leave is a kind of a lasting impression. So personal brands are the front of your career, that are the front of your CV, irrespective of when and where you are in your career. People are going to perceive you by the personal brand. And actually, for any seasoned professional, the more you advance in your career, the personal brand becomes even more important than early in your career, where you're expected to learn. When you have a brand as a seasoned professional, you have to add value, and that brand is the perception that people are built from around you and from you and about you over a period of years. It's hard to...
Very well said, because, some people in the corporate side ask, why do I need a personal brand? And I can always tell them, well, you are sitting in your comfort trap, as they say. You have a business card with a nice title and a nice company name, but after that, when you leave, if you don't take care of your personal brand, you become a PIP. You know what's a PIP?
No.
A previously important person.
Okay.
So you lose your front seat when you're in the back seat. But I love what you said. And I'm going to share one statistic with you. 78% of the companies where the CEO or the C-suite is visible on their personal brand, they command more prices, more credibility to the customers, and more business. People like to do business because they were entrusted more. Great feedback from your side.
Thank you.
Another question. How are you working on your personal brand?
Well, that's the biggest challenge, I think, for anyone.
I guess this is why you bought the book.
Exactly, in the sense that we always get taken by the day-to-day activities, and especially when you're committed to your job, you kind of forget about yourself. The way I work, I'm first by reminding myself that in every action I do, I'm doing a work and I'm doing something to contribute to my personal brand.
Personal brand.
That personal brand I do is because people perceive you from the everyday action, whether internally in a company, with your customer, with your supplier, at home, with your friend. And people start, remembering you by your actions and how you approach problems, solutions, opportunities, conflicts. And so this is where I keep in mind that always the way I approach things is kind of my personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
What happens eventually in solving or addressing an opportunity, these are facts we build over the years. But the way you do things, I think this is where the personal brand gets built. Now, how to improve that way, that's where the real challenge, because I feel we're living, the analogy I do, our generation, since we were raised...
Yourself, I'm younger than you.
Okay. We've seen everything in life from houses without electricity all the way to artificial intelligence. And we still have to cope with all that. And when dealing with people, we're having to cope also with leaders coming from previous styles of ways of doing things, all the way to Gen Z, who are always in a hurry, and young people who have great leadership skills and knowledge, and we have to embrace it and accept that they are beyond us on many fronts and everything in between. So that's the challenge in the way to keep the way we approach things flexible, agile, to deal with the full scope.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Actually, you hit on 4 important aspects. The first 2, you talked about adaptability and resilience, from no electricity to AI. So that's adaptability and agility. You talked about resilience because you have to adapt to the situations and you have to really know how to still toughen up and then focus on your main goal. And these are 2 things that are on the top 10 skills for future of work, documented by the World Economic Forum. 2030, they predicted these are the 2 of the top 10. So,
interesting.
Yes. So leaders today have to be more adaptable and have to be more resilient. Now, I'm going to tell you about the third thing that you mentioned, which is also very important. You have amassed a lot of knowledge, 25 years or 30 years of experience or more.
Who's counting?
Who's counting? 40. But you talked about the Gen Z. And the Gen Z see their workplace in a completely different mindset, right? So this is where the third aspect is called unlearning. Some stuff that has worked with you before, for you before, is no longer serve you today. So leaders like you or like our age have to unlearn, have to shed some baggage to embrace the new ways of the Gen Z or the millennials or whatever that they have adopted in the workplace.
And that's not easy.
That is not easy to say, hey, I used to do it this way 20 years, why do I have to listen to you? No, you have to listen to them and embrace that and learn from it because their ways could be better than your ways. So absolutely, you hit on the third aspect. The fourth aspect is you talked about the leadership style, which is, I think, the multicultural. And you're dealing today, you are here in Beirut, or you're in Lebanon. You walk always from Lebanon, kind of your jobs, but you serve the world and you're dealing with a lot of cultures. So how do you navigate the cultural differences? How do you integrate those cultures? I'm sure you have employees across the world.
Correct.
And they have a different standard, different communication style, different cultures, different language, you name it. Actually, I'm going to ask you, how did you navigate that successfully?
I hope I did that successfully. I had to navigate it, that's for sure. I think empathy and a little bit of humility at the beginning.
Okay.
To give myself a chance to understand the culture before judging, to understand and read the signals and the performances and evaluate the person from their angle, from their cultural standards and criteria, and not only from ours. Now, the good thing when you're in corporate world, usually the company culture kind of acts as especially when they are international and global companies, it acts as a normalizer. It kind of combines everything. And usually they set the bar somewhere where it fits. Firstly, definitely doesn't offend anybody and kind of fits multiple culture. It helps us. So if you have a reference point, you take the company culture and rules and regulations and criteria and use it as a reference point. It's kind of a safe place. It's an anchor point for us to, when you're worried, am I misinterpreting things or not? I use that as an anchor point. And again, experience. So I have to listen. I have to use empathy. I have to share experiences and definitely avoid any prejudice before approaching a new culture or a new style of doing things.
Wonderfully said. In fact, empathy is part of emotional intelligence. And guess what? Emotional intelligence is number 3 on the list of top 10.
I'm not surprised there.
Leaders who have high emotional intelligence thrive better at workplace, understand the other perspective, and then can lead to more productivity, more efficiency, and more loyalty with the employees. So well said. Now I want to bring you back to personal branding. We talked a lot about the leadership behavior, the new skills. Do you know where do they fit all in the personal branding?
Where?
I can give you a hint. It's chapter 2, the unique value proposition. So what you have to offer as a person is your uniqueness. Today, with the hybrid economy, I call it, between the crossroad between knowledge economy and the attention economy, which is around the social media and the creators and whatever, now we are in the cusp of hybrid economy. And in this hybrid economy, people need to really define their uniqueness, because I give an example. What differentiates two doctors from each other? They all have access to they know the best doctors in their discipline. They probably have seen 500 patients, right? Both of them. They have studied the same thing. What differentiates them? They would go, now with AI, they can go and access 10,000 MRIs, 50,000 MRIs, and they have a better diagnostic. But you know what differentiates Dr. A with Dr. B? Is their uniqueness. One doctor have empathy. He will ask you, or she will ask you, do you travel? Do you have money? Do you have insurance? Can you tolerate this? And then they will cater for your treatment. While the other doctor goes by the protocol, by the book, and tells you, this is what you need to do. This is a uniqueness. So I would go straight to that doctor who has empathy and who feels with me, and he will then prescribe their prescription that caters for me as a human being.
And I would add something here. The way they explain things, I think they secure the patient's buy-in to the protocol. And that's important. And that's we usually, in any business, it's important to get the counterparty, whether they're a customer or a colleague or a competitor, whatever, you need to secure, get them to buy in, whatever you're trying to convince them to buy or do or.
Yes. Well,
And that's, I think.
absolutely. Very well said. Well, enjoy the book.
Thank you very
for
much.
coming in.
No, I appreciate it.
And I hope to see you soon.
Please keep it flowing.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
I enjoyed the discussion, though.
Likewise.
Thanks.
Okay.
We'll see you.
Okay, Lee. Thank you.